Hello, good evening and welcome ladies and gentlemen to an all new year of exciting racing action at the Sim Racing Collective. That's right, TSRC is back. It is 2026 and after an extended winter break we have returned to our racing action, and what a way to fire up an all new season of racing, quite literally with the winter holidays at their end, then with a special event to kick us off here on the Premier Sim Racing platform available only on PC, known as iRacing. But what exactly do we have in store for you here? Because there's not just one special event that we've got coming up, but we've got multiple over the course of the next few pairs of weeks. Indeed, from now all the way through to the end of March, every 2 weeks we've got special events lined up to key us up for what is going to be an absolutely brilliant season of racing here. And well, we kick off with a bang at the Wild West Motorsports Park in the Sim Racing Collective Cross Jumping event. Now, what exactly has motivated us to do this? Well, many of you may remember towards the tail end of 2025 we saw the introduction on iRacing of the all new FIA Cross car, a very lightweight 345 kilogram machine with a 120 horsepower engine, a Yamaha MT-09 engine for those of intrigue, and well, mate it all together, it is a very lightweight and nimble machine made for rallycross. And we have decided, much like we saw in that event in 2025, which was absolutely mad hat, in the fact we saw plenty of battles, we saw plenty of spoils, well, we decided to bring the car out once again. But this time we've gone from a rallycross circuit onto the full dirt, and we are here at the Wild West Motorsports Park in the US of A. Now, this circuit, unfortunately, no longer with us. It closed in 2021 after what was a 9-year run, dating all the way back to 2012. But this circuit has been immortalised on the Premier Sim Racing platform available only on PC, and located in the US state of Nevada, near the city of Sparks. This is a circuit like no other when it comes to the thrills and the spills of jumping up and down, with plenty of hairpins as well and plenty of ground to cover. Only 4 corners at its heart and 1.5 miles in length. You'd think straight away this is going to be a very simple circuit, but that simplicity hides some complexity. Because with 4 major jumps, huge elevation changes on those hairpin corners, our drivers here today who make the way out for a bit of fun, well, they're definitely going to need to keep it cool in the sun, as otherwise they may be left behind in the dirt, and that's what we're here to see in the first of our special events. But where are my manners? Allow me to welcome you all to this live broadcast from Circuit Side as you tune in tonight on the one and only place you can catch all the racing action at the Sim Racing Collective. And that is, of course, on our YouTube channel at the TSRC YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com and search for the Sim Racing Collective or TSRC, and you can be tuning in today. And well, don't be shy. Feel free to say hi and let us know how you're doing and how excited you are for an all-new season of racing at the Sim Racing Collective. And do keep in mind, this is no more than a special event today. There's no championship points at offer. This is all about having a bit of fun. If you're sat there right now wanting to potentially get on the grid for our special events, we'll tell you a little bit more about our next one coming up towards the end of today's broadcast, along with what is our first official championship for 2026 in iRacing. But until then, you have the highs and indeed the skies here of Nevada as our drivers get themselves set to have plenty of fun. In the content booth, you have myself. I'm back once again. My name is Paul Walsh, the Uninitiated, and I'll be bringing you all your racing action as it unfolds here live from Circuit Side. And well, as we get set and ready to go, well, let's give you a little bit of an introduction to the circuit, shall we? Because as we can see, our circuit is the Wild West Motorsports Park, located near Sparks in Washoe County of the US state of Nevada. Only 4 corners, and big thank you to iRacing.com, not just their brilliant simulator, but also the absolutely fantastic track maps that come with it. And this circuit, of course, no longer in existence, as we mentioned only moments ago, but it has proven to be a very popular circuit on the simulator. It's free content, much like our FIA Cross car, and when you add it all together, well, it definitely means that this is a highly approachable circuit and a highly approachable car. Indeed, it's one of the very first steps which drivers can get into when they want to do rallycross or dirt racing on the iRacing service. Only 4 corners, and our drivers will roar the way all the way up towards turn number 1, before they then make the way downhill towards turn number 2, the switchback of the hairpins, but it's the long sweeping left-hander at turn number 3, and then they'll come back on themselves via 4 to complete lap and do it all over again, because the 2-dimensional circuit map image doesn't quite articulate the fact there's going to be plenty of jumps here, and we may say a few cars end up battling in the skies. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few cars potentially going over the fences come the end of the racing today. But as we get ready to go race the course, a quick reminder of our rules. Now, our drivers are required to drive the FIA Cross car with a fixed setup. That setup has been provided to our drivers ahead of all the racing. Car damage has been switched off, so you will see these cross cars get beaten up and very quickly recover. Don't worry, it's not your eyes deceiving you. You will see them be reborn like the Phoenix. And in terms of qualifying, which is just around the corner, we have an open qualifying format which is going to be used. As for our races, they'll get underway via a standing start, as is a tradition of racing in an FIA cross car on the dirt, with the race 1 grid being set based on the results of qualifying, and our race 2 grid shall be set based on the results of race number 1, with the top 5 finishing positions being inverted. So whoever wins race number 1, they start 5th for the purposes of race number 2. Whoever finishes in what is 5th place, they start on pole for race number 2. And, well, those who finish 6th and downwards, that's exactly where they start for the final race of the day. And there are no instant point limits as well, so you can imagine there will be quite a bit of elbows out racing between our drivers, which will make things even more exciting. Without further ado, we head back to circuit side, and indeed we are straight into qualifying here. And, well, all drivers right now will be looking to go for gold as quickly as they can, as we do see a few cars making their way out the pit lane, as that's a wheelie being done there by Kieran Sharp, albeit wheelies are normally seen for cars on what is 2 wheels, or what we call his bikes. Indeed, as I get my nomenclature completely mixed up there, but as he launched himself along, he makes his way out of the pit lane there and onto the main road. Now, in terms of our schedule, of course, qualifying already getting underway at this 5 past what is 8 this evening. All of our times that I'm referring to here are in Greenwich Mean Time, that's GMT or Universal Coordinate Time. And after this 10-minute qualifying session where everyone's out on the circuit looking to go for pole position, we will then see our drivers make their way to the grid for what will be the first of our 2 16-lap races. The first race due to get underway at approximately 8:15 this evening, after which there will be a short breather, and then we make our way back to the racing for race number 2 at 8:25. That's our approximate schedule. You saw it on screen earlier on. We won't bring it on back again now because our drivers are out there. Already Kieran Sharp out there. There's a little bit of contact between himself and number 7 machine of Tom Davidson, and all the 2 team TSRC drivers definitely getting a bit close to each other as they hop and skip the way down in towards the next braking zone. Looking at William Kurtler as well here, the Aztec Racing driver from the United Kingdom. And as he makes his way along in the number 9, he looks as though he's just getting to grips with things. And, well, I already feel myself laughing a little bit here, ladies and gents, but I'll try and play this as serious as possible. But many of you may remember in the FIA Cross Car event that we held last year, what we called none other than our Cross Car Shakedown. Well, towards the very end of it, I had to completely break character for the simple reason the incidents were getting absolutely comical, albeit all for the right reasons. But as Kurtler makes his way on through our hairpin there, through the Geico hairpin, well, right now I'm laughing inside because of the fact he does have the livery on the machine, which does remind me of one of those very first play cars that you get as a youngster, where you essentially you have to pedal it along using your feet underneath the vehicle. But as he makes way around there in the little infantile machine, well, meanwhile we look to none other than Vincenzo Stagnito, and the Sim Driver's EU driver here. Well, he looks to be setting the pace as he gets ready to go on to another lap. Now, of course, driving these cars is not easy. Oh, goodness me, there's a bit of contact, sending the driver odd around. And, well, 2 does not make 1 at what was the exit at turn number 2. But in towards turn number 3 he comes here, and Stagnito right now definitely eager to try and show everybody that he means business, as we do say hello to Gareth Ronda in the YouTube chat, who right now is parked up in the pit lane, I do believe, and having a bit of a breather. And I suspect, regardless of how well our drivers do in this qualifying session, it's not going to make too much of a difference. And I think when they do go green flag racing, I think it's going to be absolute pandemonium, as Davidson goes even faster now as he crossed the line there in the Cheetos machine. And, well, I've personally never been a big fan of Cheetos, to be fair, but he seems to think they're number 1, given the number on the sides of the car, as well as that being his door number, understandably. And, well, as he makes one down, in fact, I need to go for an eye test. That's a number 7 there. My goodness, he's number 1 in our qualifying tower, but Davidson right now definitely the number 7 car. But through he comes, and as he does so, well, we're getting on board with Wild Drive shortly for your viewing pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, as we look to Guillaume and Hamling, and the Luxembourgish driver here making his way over the jump. You can see how they go completely airborne there in these very lightweight machines. And, well, you'll see cross cars race around here these days. You'll also see on the service what will be the dirt trucks, to name a whole variety of machines. And indeed, whether they're heavy or light, this circuit is absolutely incredible for what it delivers. And, of course, part of the Lucas Oil Racing sponsorship. And indeed, the Lucas Oil Dirt Series normally does come to this circuit on a seasonal basis across all 4 of the seasons, each and every calendar year on the iRacing schedule. But as Hamling makes his way with a big jump there, my goodness, getting a lot of air there. You definitely fit a car underneath that. And, well, when I think of cars going underneath us, does anybody remember the Burnout games on what was the PlayStation consoles initially, particularly the PlayStation 2, and then the later ones which migrated their way onto likes of, I think it was the Xbox 360? I'm already getting feelings here we might see what they used to refer to as a vertical takedown. Because the whole aim of the Burnout game, of course, was to essentially take out your rivals. But on top of that, what you could do is essentially by taking out your rivals, you essentially could jump on top of another car, and that would be called a vertical takedown. Not that I'm saying our drivers will be planning to do that, but I can imagine we might end up with cars on top of each other, and that's going to be very interesting. But without further ado, as Jamie Nuttall makes his way to line, we jump on board here for a flying lap with Mr. Nuttall. So with the first jump he goes, and as he does so, opening it up as much as he can in towards turn number 1. right in with the gearbox there in the steering wheel, changing the gears as he makes way on out, and now one way then the other, car shaking from left to right as he tries to straighten it out. Into fourth gear he goes, now in towards turn number 2. Over 2 jumps, down 2 gears, and chucks the car immediately into the corner, and now out, up in towards turn number 3. A bit more open here, a small jump, and now into a long left-hander here as he has to drift the car through, hold in third gear as much as possible, and now on to the backstretch he goes, up towards turn number 4. A little jump there, and now getting ready for the bigger jump here as he makes his way over the launch, and as he does so up to top gear in 5th, back down to 4th, back down to 3rd, as he makes his way down through the gearbox, through the final corner he goes, and now Nuttall's going to sprint his way all the way to the line. It's been a very composed lap, no doubt about it, but is it going to be enough to move him on to pole position here? And the answer is going to be not quite. He's still got a bit of work to do. I think Nuttall struggling with the exit of turn number 1 here, with the cars weaving left and right, just cost him all the time. He lost several tenths there, and well, Nuttall needing to do a bit more work. Heads down this time, making his way in towards the next braking zone. You see a much smoother run this time around. We're going to stay on board for another lap here, and that's the thing. Once you start to lose the linear control of the car, that's where you start to lose a lot of time, because you spend a lot of time having to counter steer and constantly correct the car. Rally cars, of course, the idea is you want to get through the corners as quickly as you can, as I think we just saw there what was none other than Vincenzo Stagnito end up going off a cliff on the left-hand side of the picture, so he decided to eject himself out as quickly as he could, and Nuttall right now making his way around the final corner. Well, he was absolutely smooth for the first 3 quarters. I suspect since Stagnito going completely off the road there may have just distracted him a little bit as he comes across the line, but Nuttall still trying to find the time, and it's not coming forward right now for the member of the number 5 as he makes his way onto another lap. Still got a bit more work to go. As he makes his way onwards, well, looks like he's having a lot of fun, no doubt about it. And we look to Stefan Hütter, meanwhile, in the... Are those hot dogs on the cars? Well, I'm trying to understand that. Or no, that's baked beans he's got at the side of the cars. Well, my goodness, he must be a fan of baked beans. And, well, the saying goes, Heinz beans, they make you toot, they make you... Well, we're not going to fill in the rest of that one because we're going to keep this, what is child-friendly, this broadcast, as much as possible. And, well, as he makes his way through turn number 3 right now, well, we can see the Cheeto machine chasing after him, and that is going to be none other than Tom Davidson here, looking to get a little bit closer. And, well, if you had to ask what my personal preference of what is crisp or crisp-like snack is, it would be none other than the lovely little mini cheddars. Although we don't have any mini cheddar liveries out here, and dare I say, we need to see some mini cheddar liveries on these cars. But with 3 minutes to go right now, and all our drivers here, if they haven't learned the circuit by now, then, well, they're going to be struggling when they go racing. Albeit these 16 laps, they will go very quickly. And keep in mind, already over the space of 10 minutes, our drivers have put together... Where's the best part? And most of them have put already 7, if not 8 laps in, and they've still got another 3 minutes to go here as they head on around. But everyone enjoying themselves, no doubt about it, as Janos Wenzel, meanwhile, moves up to 4th place there. So he's looking a little bit better in the number 4. Happy for him because he's finding a bit more time. I wonder whether he's still got a bit more time to find before all is said and done. We will see as he gets ready to clear another set of corners, albeit as he jumps this time around. Can he move himself ahead of Kieran Sharp, who is 2 tenths faster than him? I think he'll be hoping he might be able to, but then again, how much does qualifying really matter here? And the answer is going to be, it doesn't matter too much, to be fair. This is going to be more about, essentially, just getting a good start to the race and then trying to pick up the pieces from there. But as he comes on down the hill, from the jumps once again, what will also be very interesting when we do see our drivers make the way over the jumps is who in the end forgets that you need to straighten the steering over the jumps, because as you can see there, Wenzel coming off the big drop, and as he did so, well, the car in the end switching one way than the other, just for simple reasons. We briefly lose him to the E when he comes on back. He's a bit camera shy there. And the fact of the matter being that you want to straighten out the steering, as otherwise when the car lands on the wheels, suddenly the car will pull one way depending on which way the wheels are turned. So you want to keep them as flush and straight as possible. But looking back to Davidson, the fastest man out there at the moment, and the Briton, well, he's not improved since his previous best of the 49.44, but he came close to it the last time round. In fact, we're going to get quick on board him here as he takes us around for a flying lap. In towards turn number 1 he goes, absolutely relentless there of how he approaches the apex, carries all the speed in and only shreds the speed literally at the very last moment. Then down towards turn number 2 here, coming all the way down to 2nd gear, chucks the car in, runs a little bit deep, but really uses the throttle management there to get the car to come through. Now into 4th gear, down to 3rd as he makes his way through the left-hander at turn number 3. And he goes back up to 4th now as he powers his way along. As he does so, over the rise he comes, up to 5th, and over the big old jump. as he goes up to top gear into 6th there. So there's a 6th gear. He's been able to find it and then dancing his way down in towards turn number 4. By goodness, literally as soon as he landed there, chucking the car leftwards. Will Davidson make his way along, and right now absolutely relentless for the car, no doubt about it. Across that timeline, and well, doesn't find any more time, but Kieran Sharp moves up to 2nd, and it was close in the end, but Sharp finding that little bit of time in the 4.55 just in front of him. I think Davidson right now respecting the fact that his rival will be close, as Davidson there shows us how to enter the pit lane. He ends up on his roof. Oh, dearie me. Well, that's going to be quickly self-righted there, and for Davidson, well, I think in the end, he's given it his all. Kieran Sharp has. They all have given it their all in qualifying. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is time for us to make our way to the grid for what will be our first of our 2 16-lap races, and here we go. So as the drivers all make their way onto the grid, this is how they'll line up for the first of our 2 races here in the Sim Racing Collective Cross Jumping event at the Wild West Motorsports Park. Tom Davidson takes pole position in the end by the best part of 3.5 tenths over Kieran Sharp. Behind the 2 Team TSRC drivers, we then have Janos Wenzel starting 3rd, ahead of Jamie Nuttall, who completes your 2nd row. On row number 3, it's going to be none other than Guillaume Hamling, the Luxembourgish driver, just ahead of Vincenzo Stagnito. And then we do have on row number 4, the final complete row of the grid, and it's going to be William Kurtler from the United Kingdom and the German driver of Stefan Hutter. We then do have Gareth Ronda, not setting a qualifying time, but starting in 9th, and I suspect he'll be looking, if he does make it onto the grid, he'll be looking just to make some steady progress from what will be the very back, and knowing that anything can happen in these races, and it normally does. Remember, there are no damage attributes on these cars. Therefore, if you do see a car end up on its roof, it will automatically repair itself, although I suspect there might be a tow to the pits if they do get it that wrong. But understandably here, all drivers right now will be very eager to just simply get underway and have a good old day here in the US state of Nevada, and who can blame them? They're all itching to go racing. As we look a little bit further back to William Kurtler, who right now sitting in 7th, knows it's a bit of a run up towards turn number 1. It is a long charge up the hill, but he'll be excited for what's to come, no doubt about it. But the grid is set. We're missing Gareth Ronda, ladies and gentlemen, and here come the lights. For the first time today, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. And it's lights out, and away we go as they put wheels into the air and roar their way up the hill. It's a good start from Tom Davidson. Kieran Sharp there. We definitely put the theatrics on as they make the way onwards a bit further back. Vincenzo Stagnito trying to go round the outside there. William Kurtler gets the spot. And now the tyres warm up very quickly and the dirt starts to fly. But bouncing and hopping the way down towards turn number 2 here. And as they do, well, everyone jumping now. And we'll push it on strong. As we can see, Stagnito battling hard with Hamling. Hamling looking around the outside. Meanwhile, Davidson now starting to hold a little bit of a gap here as they come through turn number 3. Sharp right behind him as further back Jamie Nuttall finds himself caught up behind Janos Wenzel. Wenzel having a good start there, making sure Nuttall can't make the progress. Hamling and Stagnito both queuing in behind him right now, all trying to pick up the draft here as they come in towards turn number 4. Don't really know how strong the draft's going to be fair, of all these jumps, but it's definitely going to be something they'll keep in mind as they get ready to go on to a 2nd lap. Drivers come over the bounce once again, and as they do, this race is 16 laps or 20 minutes, whichever is the quicker. Well, I suspect we will be seeing the laps come through first. Davidson makes his way around again. Oh, hold up a second. We've had a bit of a moment here for none other than Guillaume Hamling and also to Vincenzo Stagnito. Both drivers have got it slightly wrong. Not quite sure how they've managed to get it wrong, but they have managed to get it wrong on a straight. And well, we'll try and get an understanding. Stagnito's had to tow to the pit, but meanwhile, everyone else is still out there going strong. Jamie Nuttall here still chasing after Wenzel, as meanwhile your leaders have definitely bolted away. But what exactly happened there between our 2 drivers further down the order? Here's a replay. And well, we briefly lose him, and here is the footage of what happened to Stagnito. So came over the jump and then made his way in towards turn number 1, looked up the inside and just made a slight tap there, and unfortunately getting the car all turned around. Had to try and turn it one way then the other, but in the end, by trying to get it all turned around, we looked one way then the other and then hit the barrier and went over and immediately got towed to the pit lane. That explains what happened to Stagnito. And well, we also did see what was none other than Guillaume Hamling involved in that contact. Meanwhile, as we come back to your live racing, Janos Wenzel has dropped down to 7th place. He's parked up there. That looks to be just on the starting line of another lap. So I don't know what's quite happened to him. But something's gone very backwards. As meanwhile, Tom Davidson makes his way onwards with Kieran Sharp still chasing him down. And well, these two have definitely started to run away as they've been building up the pace, no doubt about it. And I think both drivers just concentrate on one thing and one thing only at this point, and that is seeing who's going to be the quicker over the dirt. I think what is a fun event has also taken a slightly serious note here. Well, Davidson and Sharp right now definitely push each other onwards, as Sharp they're landing at a crooked angle and the car bounces one way than the other. That's going to cost him a little bit of time, but right now Sharp is pushing hard. You can understand that as he makes his way down the hill in towards turn number 2. Hopping once again here and hoping he can get a bit closer and also manage was the balance of the car, as in the end he makes a complete ham sandwich there at turn number 2. That's going to see the gap to Davidson open up very rapidly indeed. What exactly happened to Janos Wenzel here, many of you ask? Here's a replay to try and explain. So this was Wenzel having it go wrong, and it was on the start-finish straight, went over the first jump, and as he did so, car landed and just parked up there. So I wonder if something's shaken loose as a result of that. And well, it may be in the rig there. And if so, that's a disaster for Wenzel. Not all expected whatsoever. But from him, meanwhile, we come back to Sharp versus Nuttall. And also Davidson. And in fact, Nuttall is the one who's on a mission right now. He's getting a bit closer here as he looks down the outside. So he's caught up quite quickly here. No rubber band in between these drivers. It is pace. And Jamie Nuttall, well, I'll tell you one thing. Whatever he drives in, whether it's a fun event or a championship event, he always finds a way to find the pace if he's not on it straight away. And suddenly he's got that pace. It's coming to him very quickly as we ride on board, looking on the nose here of the number 5. Looking one way, then the other. Goes the switch back to the inside. Oh, that's close between the two of them as he makes his way on with dirt going absolutely everywhere over our camera. And as he makes his way now up towards the next set of jumps here, right in behind Kieran Sharp, wanting to see if he can find a way to absolutely usurp him as he goes for a nice turn in there early as soon as he comes down off of the jump. But Sharp is able to carry a bit more speed and Nuttall can't find a way through. But goodness me, was that close between those two. And well, another lap goes on in now onto lap number 6 as meanwhile Tom Davidson shaking one way than the other, and well, definitely shaking his backside all around there. And well, coming over the jump now back to us, we can definitely see how high a gradient change that is coming from the very highest point of the circuit as they make the way over the jumps and towards turn number 2. But my goodness, this is getting intriguing here as Davidson's had a poor run out 2, and now it's going to be Sharp versus Davidson in towards turn number 3. Kieran Sharp still on that outside there as they make their way through. A little bit of a tap there between the wheels, but both drivers now knowing there's no love lost between them as they head over the rise the next time and in towards what will be turn number 4. But you can see Nuttall also getting close here. So what was 2 rivals at the front is now the 3 Musketeers in their cross cars, and we're coming down through turn number 4. Right now Jamie Nuttall, he can get close, but he's not able to get quite close enough here as they make their way over the next launch. And well, I think these drivers are now starting to get an idea of how high you want to go on these jumps and what you exactly want to be doing when you land. And well, it's all part of the learning experience here as they come back with themselves once again. And well, further on down, it has spaced out a little bit. We have had Stefan Hutter move up into 4th. And William Kurtler and Guillaume Hamling have dropped down to 6th place due to an incident. And what exactly happened to him? Well, here's a quick replay to explain. Nelson Hamling making his way up towards turn number 1. He's made his way into left-hander, went all in, and oh, he got clipped to the barrier there, and unfortunately, sent him a flying. Car went all the way round, and thankfully, he was able to keep on circuit, and well done to him for doing a quick 360 there. 10 out of 10 for style points, I say. We had this for William Kurtler just beforehand. This was Kurtler in the My First Cross car livery machine, making his way over the jump and up towards turn 1, and went high there towards the barrier, collected it once, collected it twice, and in the end, he couldn't quite collect it thrice time round, as we do come back to your live racing. But still more to come, no doubt about it, as these drivers all push onward still, and it's going to be even more excitement before all is said and done. In terms of number of laps remaining, can we show you the number of laps remaining? Many of you may be wondering, and the answer is yes, we can. And there you go, in what is the top centre of the time tower. You'll be able to see that now as I try to continue his way on through, and it's getting very entertaining here, as you can see Davidson, Sharp and Nuttall all together, and well, they've completed what has been almost half the race distance by the time they get to the end of this lap, and they still do have another half to go. It's definitely getting exciting as they all continue to battle the way through. Oh no! And they come together, and suddenly Kieran Sharp rolls once, rolls twice, rolls 3 times, and in the end he does his best impression there of none other than Gabriel Tarquini on the dirt. And well, Jamie Nuttall meanwhile seizes the opportunity and takes the lead of the race. So Nuttall there was waiting for the two to have a bit of coming together, and suddenly he's able to make his way through. But Sharp's immediately been self-righted, so has Tom Davidson. The cars are fully repaired as well, and they'll be back out there immediately now looking to go for broke to chase this man down. But we'll have to see whether they're going to be able to. But let's get a replay of what exactly happened, and here it is. So this was the two drivers making their way up towards what's turn number 4, and in the end Davidson not as quick here on the jumps, and it was going to be Sharp who got alongside him. A bit of a tap there. The cars got completely entangled, and Kieran Sharp being just tossed aside there. And indeed, Tom Davidson in the end, he's probably wondering where exactly did Sharpie go, and the answer is he went to the barrier and then went back straight on. So Kieran Sharp, they're actually getting the better of the two of them there, even though it looked as though he was going to be the worst of the two. Well, my goodness, what fun these two are having, no doubt about it. As he comes down here, well, right now Jamie Nuttall is trying to break away, but Sharp and Davidson are caught back up. Oh, goodness me, a Sharp there lands very awkwardly, gets it back together, but Kieran Sharp right now is throwing. Oh my good lord, he's up into the sky, he's ended up at the concrete. Can he get down off of it? And the answer is he's got a wheel caught over the barrier. And well, it looks over here right now, is that going to be Stefan Hutter? It is. Hutter getting caught up there at turn of 1 as well, and Kieran Sharp is still trying to get himself off the wall. I don't think he can. He has to tow to the pit. So Kieran Sharp has been forced to go to the pit lane because the car's got stuck at the wall, and suddenly, my goodness, it all turns as quick as that. It was looking so dialed in for a freeway fight for the win, and now Jamie Nuttall and Tom Davidson are the last two in the battle, and whilst we have no damage on these cars, well, one thing to keep in mind, of course, the fact if you tow to the pitch, you do have the tow time, and then you'll be naturally released. So that's why we haven't seen Kieran Sharp make his way immediately back out onto the circuit. It's why Janus Wenzel took some time, and I believe Stagnito, unfortunately, retired from this race, but back soon as, unfortunately, there. Davidson goes on the inside with Nuttall going deep, but he just about keeps it together despite touching the inside wall. Down towards turn number 2 they come here. Right now, these drivers, they are really going for this, no doubt about it, as Nuttall cooks it too hard into the corner, and unfortunately, it's not a MasterChef moment. It's more of what's been absolutely spoiled as he makes his way back around there, and Tom Davidson now, well, making his way along. The number 7 driver here taking it nice and easy, at least for the moment, and he's not going in slow motion here. I think he's waiting for Jamie Nuttall to come along. He wants to say hello to him, and I think Kieran Sharp, meanwhile, has just left the pit lane as well. So he makes his way back onto the circuit. Well, not like that, he doesn't, as he ends up going up onto his rear, and when he comes back down to earth eventually, the weight of the car saying it will come back down on the nose, and as he's leaving the pit lane, well, goodness me, Kieran, that's not the way you normally leave the pit, but well done to you for keeping it together. But Tom Davidson makes his way alongwards here, and as he does so, well, here comes Nuttall once again, so they get to play once more, and Davidson right now, he's going to be thinking to himself, okay, well, Nuttall's with me once more, what can I do to him this time? What fun can I have with him? Jamie Nuttall, he was probably thinking, and the absolute madman's waited for him as they come down towards turn number 2, and well, further behind, Stefan Hutter, meanwhile, 10 seconds back. He's trying to close on these guys little by little where he can, albeit Quillam Hamling is not too far off the back of him as well. As we look back to Hutter, currently running at 3rd place in the Baked Beans machine, the German driver in the 294 ahead of Quillam Hamling, who runs in 4th place in number 6, and then we do have William Kirtler, the last of the lead lap drivers here, in 5th. And right now, the British driver here still building up that pace and getting more and more comfortable with the machine at his fingertips and toes. As Kieran Sharp, meanwhile, a lap down here. Well, he's trying to get himself back on the lead lap if he can. I think that's going to be a tall order, to be fair, in the time remaining, but never say never, to be fair, as the 455 driver here continues to push on, and I think he's absolutely loving it out there, and I can't blame him for it. We're all loving it absolutely at the moment as well. But as he goes on to another lap, our leaders now, 4 to go here for Nuttall versus Davidson. And well, Jamie Nuttall ahead. He has found his way past Tom Davidson slightly off camera. And as he comes on through here, we look back from the rear of the lead car. But you can see there the fact that whilst it does look to be a relatively smooth dirt surface, the fact there are small little undulations in what is your surface, plus also, of course, the tracks that are formed by other machines that have gone around here. It means the circuit is a constantly evolving piece of, well, not tarmac, but a constantly evolving piece of racetrack, and therefore you've always got to be searching for what's the ideal line here. But here comes Davidson with a good run as they make their way out towards turn of 1, not toward the inside. Davidson looking around the outside, and in the end, Davidson goes a bit deep. Nuttall makes sure to take the place back immediately as they now jump their way down. And we're going towards turn number 2 here. Nuttall on that inside line. He's not going to back off at all as he launches his way over the bumps. And meanwhile, Davidson tries to go all the way around the outside. They're still too wide as they come up towards turn number 3. This is brilliant, but Davidson will get ahead in the end. And Nuttall sees all the space that's open as Davidson goes out very wide onto where all the dirt's being chucked. So it will be Nuttall back into the lead for now, as we can tell you that Hutter is still 10 seconds back and trying to close as quickly as he can. But the two leaders here fight each other intensely and understandably. Of touch, there's another touch between them as they come through the corner, and as they make the way down, will both surviving or thereabouts and will jump in their way on towards what will be another lap. There will be 2 more to go here onto lap 15 to 16. We've got plenty of time to complete this race, and Ericsson right now leading, but Nuttall right there with him as they come back to us. We jump aboard again with the number 5 driver here as he crashes and bangs his way through. Well, now things are getting slightly serious again as he wants to catch up. Brilliant side-by-side racing between the two of them on the previous lap. Davidson got a bit deep. Nuttall following him there right now, and he has definitely got the racer's eye absolutely dialed in through that left-hand they come. And well, these two, the closest fighters on circuit, we're going to stay transfixed them to the end as Nuttall runs a bit too wide there, almost run up onto the banking. Just keep it on the road is the British driver. Right now, pointed down in towards turn number 4, and again, you can just see how the fact Davidson being ahead, Davidson is now starting to run away with a whole 1 second gap here. But can Nuttall find some magic to close up because we're on to the final lap? The white flags are going to wave, and well, it will be the first of one of our 2 races here today that will come to a close at the end of this lap. We will see. Can Nuttall find a way back versus Davidson? Or is this going to be Tom Davidson's to run away with? He went a bit sideways there coming out of turn number 1. And well, Davidson to the barrier. Oh no! It all goes wrong for Davidson. He ends up into the wall, and Jamie Nuttall retakes the lead of the race. So Davidson, who was looking so much in control, falls out of control with only a lap to go. And in the end now, Nuttall surely has got to have this one in the bag. Unless he makes a mistake of his own doing, but I don't think so at this point. As you can see, Janos Wenzel behind, just following him along now as they make the way up towards turn number 4. Wenzel looking around the outside, and well, the checker flag gets ready to wave, ladies and gentlemen. And what a race it's been. But for the man who started from 4th place on the grid, he has gradually made his way forward. He's made the least mistakes of all. And for Jamie Nuttall, it is going to be a win in the first of our 2 races here at the Wild West Motorsports Park here. Tom Davidson, who comes home in 2nd place in the Cheetos machine. Baked Beans proving themselves superior. And in Stephen as well makes it a double podium for the Baked Beans livery machines in 3rd place there, ahead of what will be Guillaume Hamling, who comes home in 4th place. Good work from him. Lap down behind him, that was Kieran Sharp there, and then we will see William Kurtler very gradually make his way to a 5th place finish on the lead lap, with Janos Wenzel 5 laps still being your last finisher of this race as classified in 7th. As Kurtler across the line there, what a first race of the day as he decides to leave the circuit and park in the exit area. And well, I can't blame him because he wants to get off the circuit so they can clear it and get himself back on the circuit as quickly as he can. But with that, ladies and gents, and that was race number 1, and we immediately go to the grid for race number 2 and plenty more fun. And this is how they'll line up for our 2nd and final race of the day here. Another 16-lap shootout, and it is going to be William Kurtler who takes the top 5 reverse grid pole position ahead of Guillaume Hamling. On row number 2, it is going to be Stefan Hutter ahead of Tom Davidson, and then Jamie Nuttall will complete that starting order in 5th place. Behind them on row number 3 alongside, it'll be Kieran Sharp for the Sim Racing Collective, ahead of Janos Wenzel and Vincenzo Stagnito, and then Gareth Ronda will complete your 9-car lineup, should he be able to get the car onto the grid. But we are just waiting for a couple more cars to get themselves into their starting positions before we go green flag racing once again. And well, what a first race it was, no doubt about it, and it kept us guessing all the way to the finish line, and something tells me race number 2 may be more of the same here. But could we see some of our other stars here today make their way forward? Can they potentially get themselves a little bit more involved? We will see, no doubt about it. So I think they'll all be eager to make a bit of progress, but we'll see what is to come from all of them as they get ready to roar the way up towards turn number 1. And it is a long way up towards turn number 1, no doubt about it, as we look to the onboard here for Vincenzo Stagnito. You can definitely see 1.5 miles is the length of the circuit. It definitely doesn't feel like it's a big circuit until you realise how small this car is and how big the elevation change is. But he waits, and if you're wanting a little bit of intrigue whilst we wait to go green flag racing, the engine in this machine is the same engine that you see in the Ford Legends 34 Coupe on the iRacing service. Indeed, the same Yamaha MT-09 engine, a very compact 850cc engine, which whilst it doesn't have that much power, it delivers the right amount here for these very lightweight machines. But waiting for the last couple of cars to take their spots on the grid. And well, I think we are almost there, ladies and gentlemen, with William Kurtler, your pole sitter, just waiting to go. We're just waiting on Gareth Ronda if he is able to make it. I'm not sure he is going to be able to be fair. So we might have another 8 cars here. But without further ado, here come the lights. Well, in fact, not quite so. Not the lights just yet. I've just had it whispered on my ear. We do have a little bit more time before we do go green flag. I think we've got 1 more minute to go here, but we patiently await the arrival of those lights. And, well, everyone eager to go green flag racing, no doubt about it, but they have to all be patient. Good things come to those who wait, they say. And, well, I definitely agree with that based on the fact that whilst we're waiting, well, all absolutely ready to go. But what I can tell you as well is that unfortunately for Gareth Ronda, I've just double checked in the paddock, and unfortunately the reason why he's not on the grid is because his sim rig is unable to handle the jumps, and that's why he's had to back out there. And well, completely understandable given the fact that the jumps around here really do shake through the rig, particularly if you're on a direct drive force wheel, which several of these drivers will be. And I can imagine if they're running with the feedback they normally run with road course racing, they're going to have the risk of what will be very painful and bruised hands and fingers come the morning. So that's going to be a bit interesting as we still wait for them to go green. I think there's been an extended wait time here, but the gridding process is complete. Here come the lights. So it's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, it's 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go here as they all leap up into the air. Lovely image that one as they all go green flag racing. And here we go up the hill then as the drivers make the way in towards turn of 1. And Tom Davidson immediately looking around the outside of Hamling. So can he get the move done? The answer is no as they all bob and weave. But all safe through the opening corner, at least for now. And down towards turn number 2, hopping the way. And well, Kurtler just trying to make sure he does not get caught up. So as Davidson makes his way up the inside of Hamling in towards turn number 2. Place made. Nice and early for the Briton. But Hamlin strikes back here, looking back up the inside in turn, and will drifting his way through, and it's going to be a switch back here for Davidson. Davidson really getting his elbows out nice and early, but Hamlin is not going to be walked over here. The Luxembourgish driver doing a brilliant job to fight back. Great battle in action between these two, and coming on down the hill now, it's going to be 2 wide all the way through as Kurtler goes a bit deep. Still trying to get to grips with the car and how much speed you carry into turn number 4. That small mistake cost him dear almost, as here comes Kieran Sharp rolling on the back, and meanwhile Jamie Nuttall's had a bit of a moment at the top end of the circuit, so it's got a bit wrong for the number 5. But meanwhile the leaders, they take a dive in towards turn number 1, and Tom Davidson does take the lead of this race as Kieran Sharp battling with William Kurtler down the hill. Kurtler backing off a little bit there. I think a poor run out of 1 is just going to cost him all the speed and momentum into the next braking zone. But Sharp here into turn number 2, and now chasing down Davidson once again, and I think he wants to try and pull Davidson back in so he can pull everyone into this fight. As we can see, Janos Wenzel here fighting with Stagnito. Well, good to see the Italian driver back out on circuit after what was a disappointing race number 1 for him, unfortunately, due to what was a bit of an incident, but he is back out there in full force, battling with Wenzel. But as we can see, Davidson and Sharp up the inside now as they come off of the rise and down towards the next lap. And well, these two spent plenty of time fighting each other in race number 1. I suspect we're going to see plenty more from them in the second race as time goes on. As now we're starting to see the quicker laps coming from these two. But Davidson tucks up the inside. Sharp goes deep, looking for the switch back here and carrying all the momentum. Oh, goodness me. And well, Tom Davidson there being cheeky, wanted to see what happened if he put himself right underneath Sharp coming off of the jump. Well, the answer was he almost became as flat as a pancake. And while I know Shrove Tuesday isn't too far away, given we're almost in February, but it's a bit too soon to be considering the lovely tasty pancakes. But meanwhile, well, Hamlin and Kurtler are now side by side as they come through turn number 3. They make a small touch, and these two absolutely enjoyed it out here indeed. Everyone's having a lot of fun, no doubt about it. Here comes Stagnito looking up the inside here of Hutter in turn. Can he make it work for simdrivers.eu? And the answer is going to be yes, just about there. Stagnito moves up to 5th place. He's building ground right now, putting in a good show. Here's our number 3 driver as he goes towards the end of the first quarter of this race. But I suspect this to be a bit more before this is all said and done as they all bob and weave. Davidson dives up the inside again. Kieran Sharp right now, where he stays as close as possible. Onto the jump they go. And well, I've heard of moving under braking, but I've not heard of moving under jumping before. But Kieran Sharp experienced exactly that as Davidson pulled right across there on the jump as they're in midair. And well, goodness me, at the end they were able to survive it. As we see, has to go a bit deep. He's still fighting with Stagnito here as Janos Wenzel's on the back of these two. They're all together, and Jamie Nuttall's just trying to catch up, but I don't think Nuttall's able to catch up at the moment after his early lap 1 instant, and that's for the simple reason they're all right now getting so used to the speeds they're taking around here as the sun goes away. That's not normal in Nevada, but as the sun has disappeared for a brief moment, don't adjust your TV set. That's just the way the clouds come over. I'll tell you one thing right now, come sun or cloud, these drivers right now all keeping each other guessing as to who's going to be breaking away at this one, if anyone can at all. I think everyone now has learned off of the leaders and is keeping the pack very nice and tight together. As meanwhile, coming a bit further back, well, there we do see Stagnito battling still with Kurtler. And Kurtler trying to get on through as we had Jamie Nuttall had towed to the pitch due to an incident only moments ago. Can we get a replay of it? And the answer is yes. What exactly happened to Nuttall? So this was Nuttall coming up into turn number 4 as he made his way on in. Well, made his way into the corner absolutely fine. Constantly have to fight with the car and then make his way on through. Can't snap one way then the other. Completely did a 360-degree pirouette and he rolled over once and then that was it. He had to park up and tow to the pits. Mark's coming back to the racing then, and well, William Kurtler's just been involved in a little bit of an excursion at turn at number 3. Went a bit deep from what I'm hearing, with Janos Wenzel also being caught with him. We'll get a replay of that shortly, but it means that those two have fallen away as Kurtler just gets a little bit too trigger happy with the throttle pedal coming out of 4, and in the end almost goes to the bank in there. And well, we've seen a couple of cars already end up going over the concrete fences. Hopefully we don't see too many more of that, just for the simple reason when they get towed to the pits, they essentially enter the black hole, which is the pit lane, and we don't get to see them for at least a lap, as Kieran Sharp was to find out in our first race of the day, which saw him drop all the way from the lead lap and battling for the win, all the way to being a lap down and only fighting for 6th place. But as Willem Hamling continues to give chase to the two leaders, everyone starts to calm down a little bit now, and it seems like the battles are opening up. After a very entertaining first 25% of this race, our two leaders are still together, of Davidson and Sharp. Beyond that, I think everyone right now will get themselves settled in here, and well, I think the focus faces will definitely be on, and particularly for these two. I mean, we've seen it time and time again in race 1, and as they bounce their way in towards turn number 1. Davidson right now, ooh, goodness me, almost going completely around there. You could see Sharp literally just coming from the very right into the image at the very last moment, but they bounced their way over the next jump, and as they do, camera bouncing around there, no doubt about it, as Nuttall leaves the pit lane with a fresh car, and well, Davidson coming in towards turn number 3, and as he does, keeping it nice and clean. We take a look back at what happened to Wenzel versus Kurtler, and this is what happened to the two. It was on lap number 5, making their way out of turn number 3. And in the end, Kurtler made his way into the corner first and went around. And Wenzel, unfortunately, collected with him there. Did not have the ability to react in time. And back to your live pictures we go. Back to leaders then, as we still do see Davidson and Sharp together. And Kieran Sharp now getting very interested in trying to make a move. In towards turn number 1. Through they come. And Hamling, meanwhile, a bit further back. And now he's lost the draft of the two cars in front. He's starting to lose some time. The draft definitely becoming notable on those longer stretches, if you will. Not the most aerodynamic car, but to be fair, if you follow something that's punching a hole in the air, even if it's not aerodynamic, that is going to help you gain a bit more straight line speed. Of course, these cars accelerate very quickly, as Stagnito and Stefan Hutter are getting a bit close to each other. Stagnito being chased down by the German driver, but the Italian right now doing everything right so far, and he'll be hoping he can get a bit closer to Hamling before this is all said and done. We will see what's to be as he gets ready now to end this lap. From him, back to the leaders. Well, Davidson and Sharp still 3 tenths away from each other. Albeit at any moment they're going to keep us guessing here, I suspect. And I wonder if at the moment if both drivers are absolutely head down and just focusing on doing what they can do. As we do jump aboard the inside of the car with Kieran Sharp. And right now, I can tell you one thing, Sharp is absolutely frying himself. Lap after lap, quarter after quarter. The man does not know when to stop. But to be fair, neither does Davidson. They're good friends, of course. They're teammates in a lot of iRacing official events and also in Series A racing, not just the series that TSRC holds. I'll tell you one thing right now, when they get an opportunity to go racing after each other, well, it's all fun, but also there's a little bit of a serious edge to it. You absolutely love to see it. And when I caught up with Kieran in the build-up to today, he was saying he's expecting absolute madness, no matter how many drivers were here, even with only 8 drivers able to make it onto the grid for this. We did have 9, of course, but unfortunately Gareth Ronda not able to take part due to technical limitations. Well, Kieran Sharp was saying in the end that he was definitely having an absolute laugh. But as we do see the TSRC numbers account there saying they're not heads down, they're giggling like schoolgirls. Or indeed, unfortunately, we don't have the ability to listen into them as they're racing, although I can imagine if they are giggling like this right now, well, I can tell you one thing, they're having an absolute blast of a time out there, and that is good to hear. As Sharp continues to give chase, looking up the inside there, and well, he does get a nice run into the corner there. That's a beautiful run. Gets ahead now, Davidson, who's immediately over the back of him like a bad rash. Up the hill they come, and as they do, who gives him a tap on the rear end? And I think Sharp, they're being a bit cheeky and taking all the speed out before the jump and seeing whether you can catapult one of these things. And the answer is yes, you can. But as they come down the hill, well, the serious faces are off now as they go too wide on towards another lap. On to lap 11 of 16 they go. Still another oh my good lord, they come together, and in the end, well, they both crisscross each other. They seem to be completely joined at the hip, and suddenly Guillaume Hamling makes his way up into 2nd place. I don't think he's going to realise how the fact he's now found himself right in amongst what is the funny business the two have inbound him as he makes his way down in towards turn number 2. Well, Hamling enjoyed himself out there as he takes the lead this race, but Tom Davidson now, well, he's saying to him, okay, you get to join the party as well. So they go 3 wide out of turn number 2. Up the hill they come in towards 3, and Stagnito meanwhile behind. He's there, the Sim Drive's EU driver, staying close, looking to have a bit of fun here and get involved. And now for Stagnito, he's worked hard to get this close, and now he's got to hope that he's going to be able to stay with them here, and also they continue to fight each other. But where there's a will, there's a way, and bouncing away to the end of this lap, the sun comes back out, and Mule smiles here as he comes down the hill. McWilliam Hamling at this point, well, I think he'll be hoping he could hold on just a little bit longer. He's going to be having fun out there, no doubt about it, as the camera there glitches out as it bounces into the dirt. And welcome through turn number 1. Oh, goodness me, that's close there from Davidson, trying to poke his nose on the inside. Couldn't quite do so. We've got a black flag somehow for William Kurtler. I don't know how he's managed to achieve that as Kurtler, but he somehow managed to find a black flag out there. And we'll get a replay of what he seems to have done to achieve that shortly as Davidson takes the place of a Hamling. Absolutely smooth as butter there into turn, and Hamling does the exact same back to him in turn number 3. But here's a replay to explain what's happened to William Kurtler. So this was Kurtler making his way over the jump for turn number 2, or the run down to it. Did the second jump, okay. Did the third little jump, made his way into the corner, and ended up in the barrier. So where exactly has he got the black flag for? Oh, there's the answer. He's decided to hop his way over the barrier. No, Will, that's not how you take the corner. That's inventive. I'm not going to lie. They do say what is the shortest line between the shortest path between A and B is a straight line. But in the case of racing these cars, a concrete barrier is in the way and preventing that. But still, that's how he's got the black flag. So he's essentially gone off track and quote unquote taken a shortcut. Although I would completely disagree with the theory that he's taken a shortcut there. But hey-ho, that's the way it's gone. And that's why he's got the flag. But meanwhile, Hamling here, Davidson, Sharp and Stagnito all together. And well, they've got this lap plus another 3 to go. As they head onwards. Hamling right now with Davidson close behind, Sharp with Stagnito close to him. So, does seem so. We're going 2-2 now rather than a pack of 4. But Hamling goes out very wide. They almost ends up in the barrier. And we're going down the hill. It's going to be Davidson back into the lead. With Sharp now getting a little bit eager to get involved as well. But into the draft. These 3 drivers hopping and skipping their way up the hill and go on to lap 14 of 16. He's that left-hander and Stagnito behind. Well, he wants to get a bit closer, but he's going to work hard if he wants to do that at the moment. The gap just not coming down at the rate not he wants to. I'm sure he's having fun out there like they all are, as Tom Davidson will have taken the lead. Sharp there with him, and now Hamling down to 3rd place. Hamling being passed on the run down towards the braking zone for turn number 2. And Davidson is open up a bit of an edge, but can he hold on to it for that little bit longer? Of course, it was none other than what was the driver of Davidson, who finished in the winner spot in race number 1. Well, in fact, it wasn't quite him who took the win, was it? Let me just double check my statistics, and in the end I do believe he was the winner in fact there. And we do have a small glitch on our, well no, it was Jamie Nutt. No, it was Jamie Nuttall there. I was thinking the other driver. I was trying to think of a name there, but Nuttall not in the running order. That's why I'm so estranged with it. And it was Davidson, of course, who finished in 2nd place in race number 1. Jamie Nuttall, unfortunately, after what was his error early on, out of this as Davidson almost loses it there, making his way down the hill. But as he comes in towards turn number 2, over the back of Kieran Sharp, they're trying to mount the rear of the other cross car, and the 2 going around. Now Gwilym Hamling takes the lead of the race, and Stagnito as well. So suddenly the 2 TSRC drivers, well, they suddenly pushed themselves down into 3rd and 4th respectively, and they've already got 1.5 laps to try and get back. Or in other words, 2.25 miles. It's not going to be very long here. Can they pull off some magic to suddenly try and steal the win back right at the end? Not that they'll mind you, as long as they're having fun, that's what matters to them. But understandably, I think they'll be hoping they can perhaps make it back onto the podium. That's Stagnito under pressure as Davidson gets him very close very quickly as he makes his way onto the final lap. White flag gets ready to wave, and as it does so, well, right now Stagnito the first target here for Davidson, who's going to look from the outside to the inside. As well, Stagnito just parks the car in the middle of the road. Davidson touches the wall there. Goodness me, he's absolutely pushing. The car almost going skybound as a result of that. Going towards turn number 2, you can see Hamling 1.2 seconds ahead of the pair and just wanting to stay away as they both come a little bit loose. Kieran Sharp in the rear of the picture there, so is Hutter and Venzel a bit further back. They're all together right now. You could have made this up. It's absolutely brilliant to see that after 16 laps of racing, our top 6 all in the lead lap and all within 7 seconds of each other. But as Gwilym Hamling makes his way in towards turn number 4, well, it's been an absolutely brilliant drive from the Luxembourgish driver, and as he comes out the final corner, he is going to take the win in the second and final race here today. What a drive from Gwilym Hamling. He's your winner ahead of Vincenzo Stagnito, and it'll be Tom Davidson who just misses out in 3rd place as, oh my goodness, they both rolled it over. Kieran Sharp barrels into the seat as well. He collects one but not both, and then Janos Venzel, well, he decides to get involved as well, coming over 5th place, drifting his way between the bollards that are the ruins of cars. And then we do see Stefan Hutter take it home 6th place, and in the end, William Kurtler will come home to be your 7th place finisher, 4 laps down, and once again immediately finds his way off the circuit and into the pit lane. What a race, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed race number 1 definitely set us up with a great appetite for even more theatrics in race number 2, and Guillaume Hamlin there demonstrating his command and his ability to do a 720-degree spin as quickly as that, and well, doing a 360 there as well, and I do believe that would be worth 240 points if I was playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater all those years ago, albeit depend on which kind of trick you'd be pulling off, as we lose Hamlin for a bit, but I get the feeling that is most likely him deciding to disconnect, and well, Jonas Wenzel making his way on through. And as he does so, well, the number 4 driver here cooling things on down, and well, with that, we take a look to the scenic view, and with it, let's take a look at your race results from both races. So we start off with a recap of the finishing positions of race number 1, of course, and in terms of our results from our first race of the day, what we got to see in the first of our 2 sprints was Jamie Nuttall take the win, ahead of Tom Davidson, with Stefan Hutter, Guillaume Hamlin and William Kurtler completing that top 5, and it was a lap down there as we do see a car rolling its way through our background. That was Jonas Wenzel, thank you for that, Janos. It was Kieran Sharp who finished a lap down in 6th behind Kurtler, but 4 laps ahead of Jonas Wenzel, and we did have the retirement of Vincenzo Stagnito, and sadly the non-start for Gareth Ronda. Then when we came on to our feature race, which of course was another 16 laps with the top 5 finishing positions from race 1 inverted to set the grid, well, Guillaume Hamlin brought home the win there, having started in what was 2nd place, and in the end making it to the top, ahead of Vincenzo Stagnito and Tom Davidson in the end, just falling foul after his late contact with Kieran Sharp, but to be fair, they were having an absolute laugh, and then the 2 drivers getting hooked on each other before going on to that final lap. And, well, they couldn't stop playing with each other, but I can tell you one thing, Davidson in the end making it to the podium, and he'll have one over Kieran Sharp there. Meanwhile, Jonas Wenzel took 5th place, and it was a further 3 seconds back to Stefan Hutter, who completed your lead lap finishers. And it was 4 laps down for William Kurtler, but still having fun. An early retirement for Jamie Nuttall, unfortunately, after an early incident, and a non-start as well for Gareth Ronda. Well, that concludes all of our racing here today, ladies and gentlemen. No doubt about it. And, well, I've had just confirmation. The reason why we had the retirement for Jamie Nuttall in what was race number 2 is because the force feedback for his sim racing rig, unfortunately, was no longer working. Hopefully, we haven't broken his force feedback entirely before the racing season truly gets underway. But if so, oh dear, this event at the Wild West Motorsports Park definitely has got very wild, perhaps for not the right reasons. We've had a sim racing rig almost full apart for Gareth Ronda, and we may have completely destroyed the force feedback for Jamie Nuttall. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to quote 3 very famous men in the United Kingdom, and on that bombshell, well, I think it's time for us to wrap up. So if you have enjoyed the madness of today's one-off event and had an absolute laugh of it, like we have here in the commentary booth, although we're trying to play it as serious as possible because it always makes for a little bit more entertainment for the drivers when they do watch this back later, and hopefully it's giving you guys and girls at home plenty of entertainment as well. Well, thank you very much for watching, and if you're sat there right now wanting to know more about the Sim Racing Collective, perhaps you've watched today's event and thought to yourself, you know what, these guys seem to be an absolute laugh for the simple reason they're here to have fun, but they've also got some serious series to go, well, you'd be absolutely spot on. And the number 1 place to go to if you want to know more about us here at the Sim Racing Collective is to go to our official website, and that is of course at www.tsrc.club. Website on screen now, and it indeed is the number 1 place for all things the Sim Racing Collective. Whether you want to join our official Discord, which is the beating heart of the community, which you can see there dead in the centre, and indeed if you want to be on the grid for any of our series, you will need to join the official Discord. You have all of our socials on the left hand side, from our Sim Grid page all the way through to our X account, or Twitter as it should be properly named, or at least many would tell me that. We also do have our Instagram. I think that's the Instagram logo there. I'm not too au fait with the young terminology these days. Also got our YouTube, our Twitch, and another link to our Discord. We also do have our partners and affiliates listed at the bottom there, including the Sim Grid, Coach Dave Academy, Motorsport UK's esports division, Abruzzi, and also Tam Livery. And at the very top as well, if you want to know a bit more about our news and rules, you can use the links at the top of the screen. But if you don't want to go to our website, perhaps you are more of a social media person, I can't blame you for that. Well, we do have, of course, our Twitter, and that's at twitter.com/the Sim Racing Collective _official, or TSRC _official. And there you can stay up to date all the latest news and announcements and all things in relation to our broadcast. Now, we'd also like to take a big moment to say a big thank you to our partners and affiliates. We mentioned them only moments ago, including Motorsport UK's esports division, the Sim Grid, on which we do host all of our events and host all the sign-ups and the championship standings, Coach Dave Academy, and also Abruzzi Simulation of Motorsport. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we now look ahead to next time. And what we can promise you is that there is plenty more to look forward to here at the Sim Racing Collective throughout 2026. But what exactly have we got in store for you? Well, firstly, 2 weeks' time from now, if you want to be part of another one of our special events, because we are hosting these every 2 weeks between now and the end of March, well, have you been a big fan of V8 engines, perhaps? And do you like the sound of supercars? Well, we can tell you one thing, you are going to be very much in luck because we have our V8 Street Showdown as our next event on Monday, the 9th of February 2026, and we will see our drivers who make it onto the grid. Indeed, this is open to members and non-members of the Sim Racing Collective. You can make your way onto the grid at the Adelaide Street Circuit and go roaring around there in a supercar of your choosing, and indeed the infamous V8 Supercar Series successfully modelled on iRacing to absolutely brilliant detail, and there's nothing quite like the roar of a V8 around the streets of Adelaide. But if you're looking for something a bit more perhaps serious or a bit more competitive as a series, perhaps you're looking to get your teeth into your first racing series of the year, well, we've also got you covered there, because of course what we do have is our Porsche Cup Series, which will be starting on Sunday the 8th of February 2026 and will be running for several weeks in a row, and we will be looking to determine who is the master or mistress of the Porsche 992.2 GT3 Cup car, the newly introduced variant of the Porsche Cup car on the iRacing Simulator service, which of course has seen the introduction of all the electronics packages, including anti-lock braking system or ABS, and also the traction control system TCS. So therefore a much more approachable car compared to its predecessor, but one that requires you to be absolutely on the limit if you want to be able to get the most out of it. And that's why for rookies and professionals, it's the ideal car to get on the grid for a racing series. But keep in mind, if those interest you, make sure to join the Sim Racing Collective Discord and also follow us on SimGrid to keep up to date with all the information regarding these series. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have got plenty more to come, no doubt about it, throughout 2026. But until then, well, it's been a pleasure to bring you this cross-jumping event here at the Sim Racing Collective. We have been the TSRC. I've been your host and commentator, Paul Walsh. And until next time, remember to stay safe, stay well, stay smiling, and most importantly, as always, ladies and gentlemen, remember to stay on track. Good night.